the irony of me painting these during this topic is not lost on me. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another Glacial Geek Deep Thoughts Thin Coats with B, Phil, the Glacial Geek. Today, I am actually hopefully going to remember to paint this time, but I'm going to be working on some Pure Strain Gene Stealers. I got some old school ones from back in the day that I got back when I just bought whatever the hell I wanted when I was a little tweener, and then I got some of the newer ones that I had. I don't know how I got these ones. Oh no, I think these ones were the ones from the really badly primed, but they'll work as just filler bros. I think I got that with the Deathstorm kit. So those are the ones that I got from there. So we'll see how that goes. Should be pretty fine. But yes, so the topic that I am going to be discussing today while painting these Gene Stealers is going to be Dark Angels. Of course, it seems so obvious that I would be doing that. I'm going to be talking about the Dark Angels. I'm going to be talking about how to play them well and also how to beat them. That's the whole premise here is you can learn from both, because if you learn how to play them, you learn how to counter them. So that's the topic I'm going to be talking about. It's my army. I love those guys. And I think that the latest codex did a lot to really help the army. I think they're really strong. I think it's a strong codex. I think it's a strong army. I think it could do well. I went 4-2 at LVO. I lost a really close game against Eldar, and then I got my butt whooped by Ynnari Eldar. So I think that considering those, I'm not too upset with how they performed at LVO. And now it's just a matter of, you just try to get better and better. And I think that I lost my games not because the army wasn't good. I think I lost the games because I just got out-generaled, honestly. And I got outplayed. And that's just the reality of the game. You're not gonna win every single game. Even Nick Nanavati, he won every game at LVO, but that doesn't mean that he wins every single game that he has ever played. That's the reality of the game. That's the reality of how it works. If the dice are against you, if the dice are for you, the game goes a certain way. If it doesn't go that way, then you have to start worrying about things. So if you're rolling nothing but sixes and still manage to lose, maybe then you look at your list, or maybe then you look at how you played. But I think it's a strong codex. I know a lot of people have kind of dismissed it because it's not, it's not super OP. It's not like a, and it's not very obvious what it can do. So it's not like the Alteok -1 to hit. It's not like a lot of other things that you see and you look at them and you're like, oh, that's obvious. Even with the Blood Angels, that got a little bit more hype because it was obvious. It's like +1 attack. That's awesome. You instantly know what to do with them. You know how to play them. And you instantly know what they can do well and what they are probably not going to do as well, where you need to fix them and where you need to worry, and how to start formulating a plan. The Dark Angels, I feel, are a little bit more complex. Their things come into effect a little bit differently than you would imagine, and their abilities that they have, that they get, basically their chapter traits, the Grim Resolve that you get, work very specifically within the army. And a lot of people have complained because they're not as synergistic as with everything that you do. But honestly, nobody's abilities work super well with every single thing that you want to do in an army. If you look at the Ultramarines tactic, it lets them fall back and shoot. If you're not getting assaulted, if you're not getting into combat, then that's not going to help you anyway. So, in that situation, you're not falling back. Also, assault squads, for them, they don't care about that. They don't want to fall back and shoot. They could already do that anyway. They don't need that special trait, but no one really gives them crap because it doesn't work for the whole army. And to make up for it, often in our thing, we have special, the biggest complaints are that it doesn't work well with Deathwing and it doesn't work well with Ravenwing. And, understandably, yeah, you don't really want those guys standing still too much. They're not really taking morale tests, so the Grim Resolve doesn't really come into effect for them. But instead, we've got Terminators that never have to take a morale test. We got Bikers that have the only Jinx save in the entire game. That says something, you know what I mean? They've got their own special abilities that they got in there, and that they didn't need a chapter-wide tactic for. And the chapter-wide tactic really more supports the Green Wing, which kind of gets me to my first point here about playing them is that you need to consider a wider range of models to play with these guys in 8th edition than you probably did in 7th edition. You know, in 7th edition, the go-to method of playing them was just all the bikes that you could fit in a list. You know, it was Ravenwing, Ravenwing, Ravenwing because of that special Jinx save that they had, the fact that you could get up to a 2+ save, Jinx save with, you know, a 2+ Jinx save with your Black Knights, with a, you know, skilled rider. It became really awesome, and it was really cool, and I think a lot of people wanted to see something just as crazy and over the top in this edition, but I think what they've done is they've gone back to the basics with them, and now I think that they are designed to be run as a full complement. So you're not supposed to just run them as only Terminators. You're not supposed to run them as only Ravenwing anymore. Those are supposed to be support roles. You know what I mean? And you could use them. You can make a full army of them, and they will do decently well for you. But I think that the Dark Angels are really designed to be used as a full complement army. You know, I think that our strongest abilities come in our synergies. I think our strongest abilities come working together to formulate the attack. So let's start getting into a little bit more of the nitty-gritty of it. You know, I think that when you look at the Codex, there's a couple things that pop out to me. The fact that we have Grim Resolve lets you reroll 1s if you stand still immediately makes you think of, you know, yeah, getting to reroll 1s is nice just in general, but there's one specific circumstance that rerolling 1s is a major strength, and that's with plasma. The Dark Angels have traditionally had this thing with plasma. They've been known as like the plasma Marines, and it's, you know, that's kind of what they had. And back before, when you would have that, you would have to run it fluffily, and it would hurt you because they would be blowing up a lot, and it wasn't really as strong of a weapon as it had been in the past. And you're left with a situation where it's, you know, it would be nice if you just didn't run plasma, honestly. But now in this edition, plasma I feel like is it's the new hotness, no pun intended, or maybe a little bit of pun intended. It's the new hotness, and I think deservedly so, especially for the Dark Angels, because we have a couple stratagems and our Grim Resolve letting us reroll 1s, which is what's going to blow us up, that work in conjunction with each other that I think are super, super strong. So we have the 2 stratagems that I think are the best stratagems in the whole deck of stratagems that we got are Speed of the Raven and Weapons of the Dark Age. Speed of the Raven allows us to advance and still shoot and charge as normal. So just at its bare bones, that's awesome because you get to get closer. It makes your threat range a lot more. You know, it lets you get up close and personal, which is great because, you know, we have 18-inch range on our Plasma Talons. We've got, you know, Corvus Hammers on our Black Knights. So it's nice to be able to get them in the face as opposed to having to just move at the board, get shot at for an entire turn before you get to do anything. Now you get to advance up the board. Suddenly our threat range is way further. You know what I mean? We've got the instant, we've got turbo boost on them too, which means that you're just moving in automatic extra 6 inches. You're moving, you know, what is that? It's like 20 inches a turn, and then you can charge again. So suddenly our threat range is 32 inches. That's a lot, you know? That puts you out of, you know, you can't be out of that threat range and still be in range of most weapons, you know? So, you know, it automatically makes us more aggressive, our ability to be more aggressive with our attackers. But when you put that in conjunction with Weapons of the Dark Age, suddenly now you've got these Plasma Talons that are now Assault 2, that you advance them up, you spend Speed of the Raven on them. It's 1 CP, and now they can shoot and charge as normal. They clarified in the FAQ that even assault weapons, even though you assaulted, even though you advanced, don't have to take the minus penalty, because the whole point of the stratagem is that you don't suffer the penalties for advancing, so it lets you shoot and charge. It basically just makes it so that it's as if you hadn't advanced, essentially what it is. So if you have a heavy weapon, you're still at -1 to move, you know, -1 to hit because you did move. But you, if you have an assault weapon, you're not at -1 because it's considered basically that you just haven't advanced, which is, I think, how it was supposed to be read. That's how I read it. I got called you know, an idiot for thinking that my reading comprehension is wrong, but, you know, whatever. It came out in the FAQ, so that's all I got to say about that. But, so suddenly now you have Black Knights that can run up the board 20 inches. They now have a 4-up invul save against shooting for the entire turn. They also have a, they also can shoot their Plasma Talons. So their Plasma Talon reach now is a 38-inch threat range, which is huge. That's huge for those Plasma Talons because you're shooting 2 shots each. You can supercharge them. If you run them up there with a Talon Master, they're rerolling 1s to hit. If you run them up there with Samael, they're rerolling hit rolls so that they're probably not going to overheat. You drop in a Master with them, you know, with a jump pack, and suddenly they're, you know, they don't have to worry about, you know, they get to reroll those 1s, so they're not going to blow themselves up, which is always important. And they get to shoot plasma guns that, if you supercharge, are now going to be Plasma Talons, which are now strength 8, doing 3 damage each. It's pretty good. It gives us the ability to reach out and touch someone really hard and make them really, you know, it makes it hard to hide from our plasma shots, which is pretty great. To go along with that, one of the other great units that Dark Angels have, which a lot of other armies have, but I think we get the most bang for the buck out of, are Hellblasters. And again, it's all because of Weapons of the Dark Age. Weapons of the Dark Age allows us to give +1 to the damage of plasma weapons. So our Hellblasters have the plasma incinerators in there. So suddenly, if they supercharge, you've got strength 8 regular, the assault one, or not the assault ones, the rapid fire ones, the basic ones. You're looking at strength 8, AP -4, 3 damage. You know, at their 30-inch range for those weapons, and they're going to be shooting their rapid fire. So at 15 inches, you're shooting 2 shots each. So if you have a large squad there, say you have a 10-man squad of Hellblasters with these weapons, now at 15 inches, they're pumping out 20 shots. Each of them going to be strength 8, AP -4, doing 3 damage. You have the wound you have the capacity to put out 60 wounds with that unit in one turn. 60 wounds. There are very few other models out there that have the capacity to put out 60 wounds on a single turn, let alone just a regular infantry unit to run with them. And that's huge. That's really huge. And you're putting out 3 damage base. You're not rolling. It's not like a squad. It's not like las cannons where you could possibly do 6 damage each, but then you're always, you know, rolling 1s for those wounds and doing 1 damage each. You're putting out a guaranteed 3 damage each if you supercharge with them. Or if you don't want to risk killing them because, say, you wanted to move them so you don't get the benefit of Grim Resolve and you don't have anybody around to give you rerolls, you just put Weapons of the Dark Age and suddenly you're not in danger of killing yourself, but you're still doing 2 damage, which is cool. It's great. That's a perfect way to kill a bunch of Primaris Marines. It's a way to put on some wounds if you've got the shots onto a character to take them down. Some of the big baddies, you know, Magnus hates Hellblasters, especially Dark Angel Hellblasters, because there's a strategy that I like to utilize when I do which I'm sure everyone has seen who's seen this stuff when I talk about my list and everything, is that I use the Hellblasters very fast and loose when I'm attacking with them, because I like to support them with some other support characters to make them more effective. So I like to have my Hellblasters surround an Ancient. So usually just the Primaris Ancient because he's cheaper, 69 points, and you get to use him pretty well. I like to surround them with an Ancient so that if they kill themselves, they get to shoot again. So suddenly now those guys that are blowing themselves up with overheating get another shot at a 50-50 shot of getting to shoot again, which can be huge. Because especially since it's done as if it's the shooting phase. So if you're overwatching and you blow yourself up and you roll that roll and you get to shoot again, you now get to get those shots at full ballistic skill, which is always fun to do when you have your opponent charging Magnus and you supercharge those guys, because they're probably going to die if he makes that charge anyway. So killing them in Overwatch is not a really big deal to you. So I supercharge them. Any that die then get to shoot full ballistic skill at him. You know, and then of course, since they're dead, you supercharge it anyway. It doesn't make a difference because they're dead. You can't double die them. You know, it doesn't make you destroy the model in front of your opponent if you double die them. But what it allows you to do then is get some more shots at full ballistic skill onto Magnus and, you know, weaken him down. There's a big chance. I've killed a Magnus in Overwatch with that way, and it's I mean, it's fun. You know what I mean? And he's putting wounds on him that he doesn't expect because he's just charging in at you. So, you know, they use all of their shenanigans with warp time and getting you up in their in your face, and suddenly now you're putting wounds on him that you didn't expect to. If you've got Azrael there, they're re-rolling to hits anyway, so they get to have that benefit, which is pretty nice. And when you so you're sitting there, you Overwatch, something kill, they get to fire the full ballistic skill. And then you just got to hope that they can survive. You know, if you have Azrael there with them, they get a 4-up invul save. So even when Magnus is hitting them, they're getting a 50-50 chance of not being wounded by Magnus, which is huge. You know, Magnus's whole point is that he goes in there and just wails on things. If you've got those Hellblasters up there and they've got Azrael behind him, he's got a 50-50. They've got a 50-50 chance of just soaking those wounds from Magnus and not dying. And if they're not dead at the end of the turn, we have another stratagem, Intractable, that lets you fall back and still shoot. So suddenly now you have that squad gets to fall back and shoot them with their plasma. You put Weapons of the Dark Age, supercharge them again. You've got the Ancient right there, so that if they blow themselves up, they get to shoot again. Magnus is not going to last very long. Same thing with Mortarion. I know he's got disgustingly resilient. I know he's got 3-up invul saves they can get. But if you put enough shots on them with those Hellblasters, they're not going to survive. Just plain and simple, not going to survive. So we've got the capacity to counter a lot of the big nasties that cause a lot of people trouble with our specific abilities. So with our Weapons of the Dark Age, which our ability to run up there with the Raven Wing, with the Black Knights, and get in your face with plasma that are going to be doing 3 damage each. You know, you drop in the Inceptors that have basically plasma cannons, and 2 plasma cannons each. They're firing there. Again, doing 3 damage each if you supercharge with them. Drop them in with a Master so you're rerolling those ones and they don't die. Gorgeous. That's gorgeous, you know? 3 damage is a key number that a lot of weapons do. So that's the big difference. That's why Thunderhammers cost so much more than Power Fist. You're doing 3 damage as opposed to D3 damage. It makes a big deal, and that starts to add up really quick, you know? You get a couple wounds through there, and suddenly, you put 2 wounds, you're doing 6 damage. That's killing most infantry characters in the game. You know, if you get 2 wounds through, and if you're wailing on them with an entire squad, odds are even if you've got a 3-up invul save, you're eventually going to fail some of those. You're going to fail a couple, and you're going to be dead. You know, there's only so much that you can make, and if you take 2 different squads of them, forget it. You know, you get one squad that gets charged, they fall back, the other squad blasts into them, and back and forth just like that, playing off each other, and they help support each other. They help bring the 1-2 punch, and if you focus fire with them, there's nothing in this game that won't go down to 2 squads of Hellblasters with Weapons of the Dark Age supercharging rapid firing into them. So Dark Angels have the ability to just nail you super hard with these plasma weapons, and having the Grim Resolve, if they stand still, re-rolling those ones, you don't even need to bring a Master because you're just setting up. If you're setting up a fire base, you bring him in there. But if you want to, we have one of the best. We have, I think, in my opinion, the best Chapter Master in the whole game right now, and possibly one of the best infantry characters in the game right now, which is Azrael. When it first came out that his 4-up invul save didn't confer to vehicles anymore, it was only infantry bikes, I was a little upset because I had originally had this plan of basically sitting him in the middle of a parking lot. So we had a bunch of Dreadnoughts, had a bunch of Razorbacks. Giving them the 4-up invul save, it was hard to get through. So it required me to sit back and try to make a new thing. So now making these Hellblaster blobs with Azrael supporting them, they become, brutal to get through. You know, they've got a 4-up invul save, they've got 3-up armor save, they've got a 2-up armor save in cover. 2 wounds each, so that 10-man squad has 20 wounds you have to get through before you can kill them all. You know, and if you're only ever at the best doing 50% of your wounds on them after hitting them, you know, they're going to stick around for a long time, you know, because most of the things that can throw a lot of DACA at you have a hard time getting hits on you. You know, you're talking about guardsmen, you're talking about orcs that are hitting on 5s, hitting on 4s. You know, they're only hitting half the time that they've got all those shots coming onto you. And then on top of that, you're making, at at worst, you have a 50% chance of making those saves. At worst, that's if they've got any AP, you've got a 50% chance that's going in there. If they don't have any AP, you've got an even better chance. If you're in cover, you've got an even better chance of surviving. So it takes a lot to whittle through all of those squads of the guys. And while they're sitting there, they're getting rerolls from Azrael because of his abilities there. And if they get locked in combat, he's close enough that he can heroically intervene. And he is a beast in combat. You know, he's got 5 attacks. He's got its strength +2, AP -3, D3 damage each with his sword. And on wounds of 6, he's doing a mortal wound on top of it. So again, you have the potential in one round of combat that he could be doing, 20 wounds? If you roll perfectly, you could be doing 20 wounds onto something in one round of combat. That's awesome. You know, that's awesome. He could just slice through most things in combat. And if you support him there with enough bodies, he's going to survive a long time because he's got a 4-up invul save himself, you know, and he's got a 2-up armor save. He sticks around for a long, long time. You throw in that Ancient there that allows those Hellblasters, as they die, to keep shooting, become even better. You throw in a Lieutenant there, so they're rerolling 1s to wound. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. That little blob will do a lot of work for you, and it did a lot of work for me at LVO, and it's done a lot of work for me at other tournaments. When you bring them, they just do work, and they just murderate things. It's pretty awesome. So that's what we do best: is sit there, get in your face with our Black Knights. We have a new HQ called the Talon Master, which is awesome. It's essentially a character land speeder with a power sword, a twin assault cannon, and a twin heavy bolter. You know, it's brutal. It's brutal. And you get him up there, you give him the Heavenfall Blade, suddenly they have 5 attacks each. He's got 5 attacks, hitting on 2s, wounding on with strength +2, AP -3, D3 damage. He doesn't have the 6-up, the 6+ mortal wound thing, but he's still just dominating the table up there. Most things that he gets in there, he's toughness 6, so he's even hard. So most things that are attacking him, unless they become like much better, are going to be wounding on 5s. You know, you've got, if you have a regular, if you have a company commander with a power fist, he's only wounding him on 4s. You know, if you get a Marine with a power fist or a Thunderhammer, yeah, they can start wounding him on 3s, but not on 2s. You know, and that makes a big difference, wounding on 3s versus 2s. He has the Jinx special rule, so you can advance him up there, give him Speed of the Raven. He has a 4-up invul save against shooting, and he's shooting, you know, what is it? It's 12, 18 shots that he can move, and he's moving 16 inches plus advancing if he wants to. So he's super mobile, super deadly. He's a character, so as long as you've got anything between him and anyone else, they can't shoot him until he's the closest. And he becomes super powerful. Again, Speed of the Raven on him, and you can shoot up the board, shoot everything with those weapons, and then charge another thing with that power sword. You give him the Heavenfall Blade, gives him 5-up. Like I said, it gives him the 5. It's not just a regular power sword at that point. He becomes the Relic. And he becomes super brutal. So if you have the Black Knight supported with the Talon Master and Samuel on Sableclaw, or Samuel himself, they do really well. But even without them, even with just the Talon Master, they can do a lot of work. And then they're in your face, and your opponent isn't shooting at your Hellblaster blob that you've got back there. Or they are shooting at the Hellblaster blob, and then your Black Knights and Talon Master are just dominating the backfield back there. So the combination of them working together, so you have the Raven Wing working with the Green Wing, are going to provide you with a strong synergy that becomes very difficult for opponents to deal with, because most armies have the ability to either do really good in assault or really good at shooting, but start to fall apart if they get assaulted. And I'll get back to that in a bit when I start talking about how to beat the Dark Angels. But the Dark Angels have the ability between those two synergies to get in your face with assault units and to shoot you from a distance. So they have the best of both worlds that they can do. You know, they're not the best assault Marines. You know, if you know, Blood Angels are going to be better at assault than your Dark Angels are going to be, but that doesn't mean that we don't have the ability to do well with assault units. So that's synergy, finding things that work to control the table, to control how the game goes, and be able to take out units consistently is how the Dark Angels do well. Because you point those Hellblasters at a unit, they're going to go down. Is the way it comes down to it. You know, especially if you get in rapid fire range. And if your opponent's sitting back, that's why you have those. That's why you could use the Raven Wing with the Black Knights and the Talonmaster to get up in their face. Another unit that I don't think gets enough credit is the Dark Talon. I'm not even talk about the Dark Shroud. I'll get back to that in a second. But the Dark Talon, that's our flyer, one of our flyers. We've got the Nephilim Fighter and the Dark Talon. The Dark Talon has 2 Hurricane Bolters, a Rift Cannon, and a Stasis Bomb. The Stasis Bomb is a 1-use only. When you fly over a unit in the movement phase, you can drop the Stasis Bomb on them. You roll a d6 for every model in the unit, up to 10, and for every 4+, you're doing a mortal wound. So suddenly your opponent's coming at you with a big blob of scariness. You fly over them with the Dark Talon. You drop that Stasis Bomb, and there's a 50-50 chance that you're doing. Averages say that you're going to be doing, if it's a 10-man squad there, you're going to be doing 5 mortal wounds, which is brutal. That's super brutal. Just getting to do 5 mortal wounds really knocks the wind out of a lot of sails, especially if you're going against Marines with some elite units. So if you're going against, say, you see a Death Company unit that's coming up the board, they've got 10 Death Company. That's going to murderate you if they get into combat. But you fly over them with your Dark Talon, and suddenly they're taking 5 mortal wounds in there. Yeah, they've got their feel no pains, but they're still going to lose guys. And each one that they lose makes a big difference in their ability to impact the game. Then you've got Hurricane Bolters, which I think are one of the best forms of DACA that we have available to us as Marine players. If within half distance you're doing 24 shots with those 2 Hurricane Bolters, heck yeah. Well worth even the points increase with them, the 2 points increase, they are well worth it to take those Hurricane Bolters. They are the best unit, they're the best model for throwing out a lot of DACA to take care of hordes in the Codex, in my opinion. Bar none, hands down, the best unit for handling hordes and for the Dark Angels. On top of that, you then have the Rift Cannon, which it's heavy D3. He doesn't have they don't have Power of the Machine Spirit, so he will be at a -1 to hit, but they do have strafing run. So if you're targeting a unit on the ground that doesn't have fly, both the Hurricane Bolters and the Rift Cannon are going to be heading at +1, which is nice. So it's heavy D3, strength 10, AP -3, 3 damage. And on top of it, if you do damage, you get to roll on a vortex table, which degrades as the model degrades. And if you pass that roll, you do an additional D3 mortal wounds to the model. So if you shoot, you have the possibility, again, if you roll perfectly with them, of doing 12 damage. 12 damage with the Rift Vortex. I mean, that's nothing to shy about. And it's not a super expensive model either, which is great because it's a flyer, so it's zooming around the board. It's got hover so that you can use it aggressively and not have to worry about having to fly off the edge of the table and it dying. So you're less concerned about like where you fly him into, so he can get into places that other flyers wouldn't be able to. Sure, once you drop him into hover mode, you lose your -1 to hit. But at the same time, it's still gets to do what you need it to do. It's great at character sniping because you shoot them up the board and you get them behind the enemy, and suddenly now they're closest to your opponent's warlord or your opponent's character that's buffing up the rest of his army there. You hit him with the Rift Vortex, and you do a lot of damage, which is pretty nice. On top of all this, you also have the Dark Shroud, which is our super land speeder. It's pretty much one and only use is is at giving a -1 to hit to any Dark Angels unit within 6 inches. So suddenly that big blob of Hellblasters are now -1 to hit because the Dark Shroud is sitting by them. That Dark Talon of yours at the beginning of the game, even though you have to put him on the board, if you're getting Alpha Struck, is now -2 to hit because he's hard to hit, and -1 to hit because of the Dark Shroud, -2 to hit. He's probably going to be around for your first turn to get to go shoot there. Or your opponent now has to put all of their focus onto your Dark Shroud until it's dead because they don't want to have to be taking that -1 penalty for the rest of the game. That's great. I'd rather than blow up that Dark Shroud and now have the full capacity of my counterattack available to me, and it's a great distraction piece. You advance it, you don't even have to move the model. You just say it's advanced. Now he can't shoot his heavy bolter that you put there. Oh well. but now he's got a 4-up invul save too. So all of that armor, all of that that shooting that he's going to throw down at you is -1 to hit, and he gets 50% chance of saving it, regardless of how much AP it's got. Brutal. And that's got 9 wounds. It takes a lot to get through it, and it's sitting there giving you that -1 buff, which is great. So it's it works both ways, either as the distraction piece that your opponent has to focus down that first turn, leaving you with the full capacity of your counterattack, or you're getting the benefit of a -1 for the entire game, which is super beneficial. Ask any Altaok player out there how beneficial that -1 to hit is. And it's not even at 12 inches. So your opponent could be 3 inches away from you trying to shoot into you, and you still -1. There's no distance modifier for this. So it's pretty awesome. So all those tools together working. You've got Raven Wing supporting Green Wing. Terminators, I mean, the way the game works right now, they're much better this edition than they were last edition. Far more viable. The Deathwing Knights are brutal in combat. You get them into combat, they're going to kill most things. The problem is getting them into combat, because deep striking them leaves them out in the open and they're vulnerable, even though they've got a 3-up invul save with the Storm Shields, 2-up armor save, 2 wounds each. You throw enough shots into them, they're going to die. And they're expensive, so every one that dies, it hurts. But if you can get them into combat, if you want to spend the points on say a Land Raider Crusader, which is great because you can use the Land Raider Crusader with the 2 Hurricane Bolters to wipe out the screens so that it leaves a clear charge lane for them to shoot up. Definitely a good strategy to work with. There is you have you have an Interrogator Chaplain inside with them. They go up there. You have the Warlord trait. I can't remember the one, but it's basically lets you reroll advances and charge distances. You have if you move them up, you shoot up the Land Raider first turn, clears out with his Hurricane Bolters and a Twin Assault Cannon any screen that you've got there. Next turn they disembark and move up and they charge. They get to reroll that charge if you make that Interrogator Chaplain your Warlord. Boom, you got them in combat, and they're super effective. Once they get in combat, they kill things. They kill many things, and it's brutal. It's awesome to see them in combat. Once they get in combat, it becomes very brutal, and then they keep moving on. They're slow because they're Terminators, so you kind of have to try to figure out a way to deploy them and utilize them so they can daisy chain assaults as they move up the board. But at the same time, they are brutal. They're not going to be as effective for you in a competitive scene as a Green Wing Raven Wing combination, but at the same time, they're still super strong, and I wouldn't bat an eye at bringing them into a game. Plus, I think they're some of the best Terminator models out there. Like, honestly, bar none. I love them. I think they look super cool. So I really think that they're really good at what they do with that. So we have very specific stratagems that help us excel in areas that other armies don't, and it allows us to excel in ways that is very dangerous for your opponent. We have the combination of Raven Wing and Green Wing is, honestly, I could see it making it to top table. I wasn't good enough to get them there this time, but hey, we'll see what happens next time. I think they could be super dangerous. I think they could be super effective. I beat an artillery and body heavy guard army at LVO. I beat a NID army. I killed a Flying Hive Tyrant on my opponent's first turn. He went first. He came up the board, shot at my Hellblasters. As they died, I was rolling, getting the 4-up to shoot again, and I killed a Flying Hive Tyrant with my Hellblasters his first turn before I even went. So that's super effective. If you're killing your opponent's Flying Hive Tyrant on their first turn as they go first, I mean, you can't argue with that. That's super effective. Granted, things had to go the right way for it to work that way, but still, the fact that it could happen and did happen, I mean, that says how strong they are, and that shows how strong they are. So I was able to beat a strong NID list. I was able to beat some Necrons. I was able to beat a guard heavy list. I was able to beat an Imperial Soup list. Basically, they had Dark Angels, they had Salamanders, they had a whole bunch of Assassins with Mephiston. It was a brutal list, and it came down. It was a really close game, but I was able to beat them with my list, and it was great. And I think that if you have other units like Reavers dropping in, they have the ability to tie up your opponent's shooting units so that they can't hit you from a distance, which is honestly one of the ways that I'm going to talk about being able to kill Dark Angels. So I think are strong. I think utilizing the Green Wing along with the Raven Wing makes for a very potent combination. I think utilizing the Primaris Marines that we have available to us with the stratagems that we have available to us makes us very strong. And just the combination of all those makes for a it requires a bit more thinking, you know. It's not like, well, Alteok, whatever, everything's now -1 to hit. So we're gonna have some of those flyers that are now -2 to hit. We've got a bunch of Dark Reapers over here that are -1 to hit. You know, good luck, come at me. You know, with the Dark Angels, you have to start thinking about these synergies. You have to start thinking about the way things work together, in ways that the best players do for every army. You just kind of have to do it even at the basic level with the Dark Angels is what it kind of comes down to. You know, that -1 to that being able to reroll ones when you stand still makes us even better at utilizing plasma weapons than anyone else. You put the weapons of the Dark Age on there, our plasma weapons are better than anyone else's. Suddenly you have a very strong and reliable source of pain for your opponent by using those plasma weapons that a lot of other people eschew because of their ability to kill your units. But we have the ability to either prevent them from dying, or if they do die, to allow them to do more work for you. And I think that it's a strong combination that really will do well in competition for you. So you have that. Then you kind of move on to the point of, say I don't play Dark Angels, but say I play against Dark Angels, you know, and you're running into the same thing that I just talked about. Your opponent across from you has the Dark Talon that's going to come up and shoot your hordes away. You've got your opponent with 2 squads of 10 men, 10 Hellblasters with Azrael and an Ancient and a Lieutenant in the middle running up the board with the Dark Shroud behind them, so they're all -1 to hit. How do you handle this? How do you take care of this? Well, to take care of them, you need to engage them in combat. Because as much as I said, we've got the ability to reach out more so than just a purely shooty army, that is not our strong point. Dark Angels are not the best in combat. Even the Black Knights and the Talonmaster, they're good and they will kill things, but they're not close combat monsters. They're not beast in close combat. You know, they're no Death Company. They're no Sanguinary Guard. They're no Carnifexes. Like, these are things that are they're decent. They're probably better than your average bear, but that's still if you're engaged in a whole lot of close combat as a Dark Angel player, you're probably not doing as well as you probably could do. So how do you counter that? Well, you get in close combat. So the way that you get into close combat is you have units that can deep strike. Make sure you be careful though, because Dark Angels do have a stratagem that allows you, if you deep strike within 12 inches of an infantry unit, which Hellblasters are, they get to shoot you. I got to kill a squad of Fire Dragons that way because my opponent dropped them in wanting to shoot my my Dark Shroud with the Melta, and my Hellblasters wiped him off the board right then and there. I've also done it against Orcs when you drop Commandos down, wiped them off, and you had to drop another unit of Commandos down there. And I mean, that's not ideal for you. So the way you do it is you get in combat. So if you're Orcs, to jump boys right into their face. Because if you've got a 40-man squad of boys, even if I'm shooting my my Hellblasters at full throttle into you, I mean, I'm not going to get that many 6s. So you need to be able to get in combat. If you can tie them up, I can only use that stratagem to shoot one unit. So if you get both Hellblaster squads that I've got tied up, only one of them is going to get to shoot back at you. And if you're getting me tied up in combat, if I'm not getting to fully utilize my shooting, I'm in a bad place as a Dark Angel player. So get in their face, get into assault. If you don't have the ability to assault into an army, then target priority becomes key. So first off, you have to understand that if you're going to be focusing on shooting the Dark Angels, then you need to get rid of the Dark Shroud. And I know I talked about I don't care if you're shooting at the Dark Shroud, but I mean, it doesn't matter. You need to get rid of it because at that -1 to hit, you're severely hamstringing your ability to respond to my tactics at that point. Because if you're depending upon shooting at that point, that -1 to hit is going to put you at a severe disadvantage. So it's like playing against Alteok, except it's around my key units that you want dead. So if you could take out that -1 to hit, suddenly your army now has the ability to shoot much better. And you're going to be able to utilize your tactics of shooting me from a distance much better. So if you have, if you have guard and you've got artillery back there, you've got Lehman Russes that are just heaving strong Daka down the board, focus down that Dark Talon until he's gone, and the Dark Shroud until he's gone, and then you've got to shoot the Hellblasters, because they are going to be the unit that's going to really take you down. And if you can focus them down, if you can take them out, my army now is at a disadvantage. And if I've got the ability to respond with other units, but at the same time, those are the guys that are going to do most of the work for me. And if you can take them down before they can really get into a position to hurt you, all the better. So if you're guard, sit back in a corner, put a whole bunch of bodies between me and them, so that I can't just tie them up with my Reavers. I can't just tie them up with my dark Talon, or with my Talon Master, and you're going to be in a good position. I beat a guard list that was similar to that, but I mean, at the end of the day, I had my Mortis Pattern Dreadnought and a Lieutenant left on the board. I mean, it was close. It was close, and I was able to get a lot of things because I was super aggressive at first, and I pushed up the board. But I mean, if it goes on a little bit longer, I'm dead. And that's just the reality of the situation. So if you're shooting army, you need to get your target priority straight. First, you need to take out my buff of a -1 to hit, because otherwise the rest of your shooting is going to be at a detriment. Once that's taken care of, you need to kill the things that are going to kill you. So take out those Hellblasters before they get into position to where they're going to wail into you. It's easier said than done, I get that, but focus fire. Focus fire on each of these units, because you're going to see a bunch coming up, especially with the list that I bring. I bring a lot of different threats that are going to be sitting there on you. But you need to be able to focus fire those things down, because I know the Dark Talon looks like he's going to be flying around doing some things. Honestly, he's best for those first 2 rounds of shooting, and then he starts to hurt a little bit trying to get into position and maneuver and whatnot. But if you can ignore him for a turn or two and focus down those Hellblasters before they get into an optimal position to kill you, you're going to do better in the game overall. Just plain and simple, you're going to do better in the game overall. Because if you take out that Dark Talon and because of it, those Hellblasters get into rapid fire range of you, it doesn't matter that you took down that Dark Talon. They're going to kill whatever they got in rapid fire range of. And if you don't take care of them before that, it's going to hurt. And you're going to be in trouble. So you need to focus down those Hellblasters. You need to first knock out the buff, then focus down the Hellblasters, and then you can start looking at what's worse for your army. So if you're mech heavy, then you can start taking care of any las cannons or dreadnoughts or whatever you've got going on. If you're infantry heavy, then you start taking out start focusing fire down on that Dark Talon. They're not super tough. You're looking at toughness 6, I think, on both of them. Toughness 6, I think, on both of them. 9 wounds on the Dark Shroud, 10 wounds on the Dark Talon. So the Dark Talon does degrade as he goes on. So they're not tough, but they are effective. And they're -1 to hit, both of them, because one has because of his Dark Talon abilities and one because of the hard to hit. They both have it if they advance. They both get 4-up invul saves. So, it can be brutal. It can be brutal. And I get that it can be brutal, but at the same time, that's how you take care of them. You start whittling down my ability to respond. As a Dark Angel player, it becomes crucial for me to be able to bubble wrap my shooty units, and not bubble wrap quite as aggressively, I think, as some people have to. Like infantry, or for Imperial Guard, you need to bubble wrap your tanks like you're literally bubble wrapping them and putting them in a box and shipping them somewhere. You need to have multiple layers. You have to have a lot of them there. If I just keep you from being able to deep strike in a place that can charge me easy, I'm okay with my list. And that's what I'm going to do as a Dark Angels player. But you have to find ways to get around that. So if you're Blood Angels, for instance, deep striking in is okay, but you have stratagems and you have abilities that allow you to jump up the board quicker, which means that I'm not going to be I'm not going to be able to intercept you. I'm not going to be you're not going to be at 9 inches away from me. And if you can try to get more guaranteed charges in, that's when Dark Angels really start to suffer and hurt because of it. So that's the advice that I've got when it comes to Dark Angels, both how to play them, which I've got more advice on because that's what I've done more, and then how to take care of them. I mean, how to beat them. I mean, play Eldar, I guess. I guess that's the answer for how to beat most armies right now is play Eldar. But yeah, I had trouble against Alteok. I had trouble against Yanari with the Soul Burst, and because the fact is you could hide the Dark Reapers and use those Tempest launchers that don't need line of sight to kill my Hellblasters, because they do need line of sight. So that's another thing, is hide your important things that don't need line of sight. So if you've got Imperial Guard artillery, if you've got Dark Reapers with the Tempest launchers, hide them. Just keep them out of line of sight. I know it, even with the Dark Reapers, it might cut down on your ability to shoot, but if I can't kill you and you can kill me, you're at an advantage, and take advantage of that advantage, and just utilize it that way, and just keep moving them up there, and just keep shooting over and over again, soul bursting, and eventually you're going to whittle down my ability to respond to you, and then you can just pick off things at will, is the way it works. So find your army's ability to focus fire and utilize it, and assault if you can, because I'm designed to shoot you. And if you can't assault, then become very good at target priority, because that target priority is key. So you've got those Dark Reapers, they don't have a minus to anything to hit. So they're going to be super good at taking out my Dark Shroud. They're going to be super good at taking out my Dark Talon. Utilize those kind of things. Utilize the tools in your toolbox that are going to do great. So if you've got Orcs, assault my Flyer with your Storm Boys. Because they've got fly, they can assault into them, and that's what Orcs do best. To jump them in there, you know what I mean? Maybe wait a turn to jump them in there, because you can wait till I move, because my bubble wraps usually start to get pockets and holes in them as you start to move. So as the turns go on, that bubble wrap becomes less and less of a strong thing, and now you can find holes that you can jump a unit into to go off and just to slaughter me. So that's my advice. That's what I'm thinking when it comes to Dark Angels. I still think that they're going to be very strong. I think they're going to do well. Maybe in my hands, maybe in someone else's hands, but I think Dark Angels can do well. I think the combination of Dark Angels and Blood Angels would be super good, which actually this weekend I've got a team tournament, and my opponent is bringing his Blood Angels. I'm bringing my Dark Angels. So as he put it, he's like, I'll bring the knife if you bring the gun. So I think they're going to work very well together, and I'm excited about that. And I'll let you know how it works. But yeah, I think that's the best way that they work together. Is Dark Angels are best at shooting those plasma weapons over and over in your opponent's face until they're dead. And the best way to counter that is to make it so that I can't shoot those plasma guns into your face over and over again until you're dead. So I hope this has been informative. Let me know what you guys do, both your tactics on utilizing Dark Angels and your tactics for handling Dark Angels if you face them across the table a lot. Keep the conversation going down below, and I would love to hear what's going on with your experience with Dark Angels or against Dark Angels in 8th edition here with our new codex. So I hope you guys have found that all informational, and I hope that you all have enjoyed it. I certainly have. I have been Phil, the Glacial Geek, as always, and until next time, have fun.